What is going on, everybody? My name's Earl here, and what I have here is a 2008 MacBook Pro that I got for $11 and some change. And yes, I've had this for quite some time now, but essentially, I found this on Facebook. It's basically part of a unit or a lot. I got it for about basically $11 and some change on every MacBook. Now, there was a total of 26 units, and for the most part, a lot of them were non-functioning. This was the one that caught my eye because not only is that this is a 2008 model year of MacBooks, meaning this is an early 2008, and that means one thing: we could run OpenCore Legacy Patcher. This was the pre-unibody era of MacBooks, so this is the old school with a gazillion screws. Hence why I don't like dealing with these. Is there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all of these gazillion screws right here that you have to take off just to remove the dang hard drive. But you know what? We love a challenge. And today I have an SSD right here that I got on eBay for roughly around $6. This has El Capitan on it, which is the last supporting version for this 2008 model year. The best part about this MacBook, guess what? It turns on by itself. No cable required. I don't think this is a genuine battery, but it still holds a little bit of a charge, which means we should be able to get the most out of this 2008 machine performance-wise. Because if you guys didn't know, whenever the battery isn't in working order with these Apple MacBooks, they normally run at half the speed of what they normally would be running. Taking a closer look at this MacBook, as we can see that this has the 2.5 gigahertz Intel Core 2 Duo. We have 4 gigabytes of DDR2 RAM. Now you could technically expand this to 6 gigabytes of DDR2 total for this machine specifically. The issue is that finding a 4 gigabyte stick that is DDR2 costs more than buying a 16 gigabyte kit for DDR3. In my honest opinion, I decided just leave it with 4 gigabytes of RAM. I mean, that's the officially supported version anyway. And the graphics is the infamous 8600 GT or 8600 MGT from NVIDIA. Now, why is this infamous? Well, it's infamous for one reason, and that is because these are quite unreliable. Now, if you guys heard of a 2011 MacBook Pro, this was worse. The only graphics this MacBook has available is the GT 8600. With the 2011 MacBook Pro, failure rate for the GPUs on those 2011 MacBooks might be high, but they still have a second chance at life because they do have an integrated graphics. With the 2011s, we have the integrated graphics and the discrete graphics. With this specific computer, if that GT 8600M goes bad, you won't be able to use this computer at all. And I believe Apple did have a revision board, and I'm hoping my unit right here has the revision board. But if not, then this will probably die in a matter of a couple of months or a couple of years. I don't know. Shutting this thing off, we're gonna go ahead and flip this on its back. And for the most part, this MacBook is in decent shape. I do have to remove that little sticker right there covering the Apple logo, but a little bit of a cleanup isn't really going to hurt this computer because there's not a lot of things that is presenting itself when it comes to imperfection. Just a slight dent right there, but really clean machine. And looking at the back right here, this is where you'll see the most wear and tear, and obviously that battery has seen better days as well. And you know, the fun part about these older pre-unibody MacBooks is that you could easily just flip that little 2 levers right there and remove the battery and replace it with another one. Now, these are hard to come by. You know, normally a third-party battery at this point in time would not perform as good as the original battery, and I don't even think this is the original battery because it doesn't have a serial number and whatnot. But hey, if it's still working, as you can see, I'm not complaining. Going back to what I was saying with these types of MacBooks, I absolutely hate these MacBooks for one reason, and that is just working on them is a pain in the butt. Because we need to remove all these screws. On top of that, we have to flip this back and then take off the top cover or the top keyboard in order to have access. And just like that, you have access to your RAM. Man, so many screws. And then we have to go to the other side in order to have 3 more screws. Oh, actually, no. Matter of fact, this has 4 screws on this side. All right, here we go. Hopefully this is the last screw. I do have to remove these, or actually these 2 right here. I'm not sure if we have to remove these 2. I don't think we have to. So let's go ahead and attempt to remove this top case without having to remove these 2 screws. I don't remember having to remove those. Please don't make me remove those. I think I have to. That's great. Alright, well, I guess I have to remove these. But on the bright side, take a look at this. I feel like this MacBook has never been disassembled ever. Very interesting. So now we should be able to, oh wow, those were the 2 screws that were missing. This is in really decent shape when it comes to this MacBook right here. I am genuinely surprised by how clean this is. I don't think this has ever been taken off ever on this computer. There you go. Whew, that was quite nerve-wracking. And then we could remove the hard drive itself. The only last remaining thing to do is to plug this 2 cables back into place. And technically we should be quote-unquote finished now. Well, let me go ahead and install this top case right here, or top keyboard. Lock into place just like that. And maybe we could get a cool thumbnail video like this. And see if this works. Oh, I didn't even have to do anything. Let's go ahead and get started with this. Like, screw it back together. Now, obviously, we're going to I'm going to let you know what? I'm going to do that because I'm very confident this is a very good machine. So there's not a lot of dust here. So let's go ahead and plug it back together by putting the top piece of cable. Cannot forget about this weird pentalobe screw. I remember seeing something on but push it in like that. We have a totally finished, upgraded 2008 $11 MacBook Pro. All right, so I'm going to clean this up because it's a bit dirty here. So Alright, so it has been exactly the next day. As you guys have already known, these take forever to finish their installation and whatnot, but more so, I tried updating OpenCore Legacy Patcher to its latest version, but for some reason, every time I run this with version 2.2.0, it just boots loop. And so the only way for me to really make this thing work out without having to do all the reinstallation because of the boot loop is to keep it at 1.2.1 OpenCore Legacy version. I've installed all the root patches, I've installed everything, so I think this is as good as it gets. Look at this. This is a wonderful looking machine. And let me go ahead and take out my cheap $5 mouse right here because one of the things, or one of the areas that this 2008 MacBook Pro has really aged pretty badly is the trackpad itself. As you can see, we have this little dinky plastic click tap, whatever you call this, and you can't really do a lot of things because the surface area isn't as good as the newer unibody or even the newest MacBooks. But you can still do a couple of multi gestures, as you can see there, but it just feels claustrophobic because of how small the trackpad is. Everything is working. Obviously the fans are spinning high because we are hovering at 80 degrees Celsius, so we definitely need to do a thermal paste replacement. This is a very good looking machine, and I'm generally impressed by how good the keyboard is specifically on this. Now, a lot of times back in the day when I had this on my YouTube channel, I had a 2007 I've uploaded, a lot of people pointed out that these had one of the best keyboards in the world back in the day, and even right now, and I didn't really get to experience it fully until having this really good condition MacBook Pro 2008 here, where I realized the keyboard is really fantastic. And as you can see, I could still scroll regardless. I don't think I can pinch in though, can I? It's a bit laggy, that's fine. Let's go ahead and click a video of mine right here. I could easily browse the web. Just give it a few seconds. Need to run one thing I'm really impressed about with this MacBook is definitely how usable it is 17 years later. I mean, think about this, guys. This is a 17-year-old laptop. Now, it might not look like it. If you cover this part of the laptop, it looks pretty modern. I mean, look how thin the bezels are. That's one thing I'm really impressed by. And the design in general, that is a really good looking laptop. And look at that. No power required, despite how hot this is on the bottom. Holy moly, this is running pretty hot. I guess I have to disassemble this after all and replace the thermal paste, but that's for another time. Or maybe I'll do that right after this video, because I know a lot of you guys will start complaining about that. Now, you can see watching entertainment on this machine, it might take a few seconds to load things out, but last week's video. Now, before this gets any further, I am almost reaching 2,000 subscribers. As you can see, the speakers are fantastic on this machine, and that is really great because a lot of times with these older MacBooks is that the one thing that they go bad, all of them after like 5 years, are the speakers, which is ironic. Gladly, this specific MacBook that I have here does not have any issues with that. If I'm being honest with you guys, these MacBooks are getting to the point where you could still technically use them as a computer. I mean, there's no doubt about that. The issue is that using them for more than just web browsing, that is when things will turn around. These MacBooks just do not have the power to really use any modern applications or software. That Core 2 Duo, despite it still kicking butt and running Big Sur, which is a modern software, so the last officially supported version for this 2008 MacBook was El Capitan. It might not be the fastest thing in the world, as you can see, but it is what it is, you know? Like, I mean, what do you expect for a 17-year-old machine? I believe this is 1440 by 900, and to my eyes, this looks fantastic even today. I mean, the viewing angles might not be that great, but for the most part, the resolution is, although it's not 1080p, I wouldn't even notice that this isn't a 1080p display because the color reproduction is still fantastic. If you go to the Apple website right now, we should be able to just run it with ease. And look how trippy it is to see an iPhone 16 Pro on this computer. And would you look at that? That SSD really helps a lot when it comes to making these older computers speedy and have more and will last a lot longer because of the SSD. Now, I am browsing for newer M4 Macs, and I can't really decide whether I should get a Mac Mini or a MacBook Pro M4. The resemblance between the newer MacBook and this MacBook is actually uncanny. It's a lot of resemblance in my opinion. The design alone, the boxy design, is very, very similar, as you can see, to this computer. You know what, let's go ahead and play Minecraft. I feel like Minecraft would be a cool little experiment right here. There you go. That wasn't so hard. Thanks for automatically detecting. And we have Java Edition right here. Let's go ahead and play it. Remember, we are running on the battery. Here we go. We have Minecraft running. We're gonna go ahead and make sure the graphics is fast here because there's no way we're gonna get a lot of frame rate here if we don't do any of these. Well, look at this. Wait, hang on a minute. The frame rate isn't that bad. Look at that. What? Oh, well, give it a couple of seconds to load everything. We are running at a solid 53 frames per second, or around 40 to 50, which is not bad at 1440 by 900. That graphics is not too shabby. Well, the fan is definitely spinning. I'm gonna go ahead and go to keybinds right here. Use this as shift, this is caps. So that way, what we can do is we can speed up our flying. The bottleneck is the CPU, because this is mostly a very CPU intensive game, and you can see the CPU is struggling to load a lot of the chunks, aka the render distance. Let's go ahead and see some Minecraft servers here. We're gonna use this server right here, whichever this is. Look at this, we could play Minecraft at an astonishing 11 frames per second. Well, 24, very cinematic. Even less if I turn this little frame rate graph on. We are starting our own skyblock. Because I don't have any mouse, we're gonna have to remedy it with our little dinky trackpad right here. So in order for me to left click, I have to press Control. We have water buckets here. You know what, why don't we... Look at that. You know what, I feel like I might actually play this game after this video. I'm getting into it. Oh no, I'm really enjoying myself here. Can I shut the chat settings? Playing Minecraft on this? Not an issue. So we're hovering around 46 FPS or 40 to 50 FPS. Sometimes goes down to 30, but nothing to the point where it really interferes with the gameplay. I mean, 30 frames per second is plenty enough for me. Well, Minecraft on this computer is very enjoyable. Not complaining on that. Might not be the best when it comes to frame rate, but what do you expect on a 17-year-old computer? The easiest way to describe this $11 MacBook right here that I got months ago is that this is a perfectly working machine even 17 years later. And that is substantial. That's a decade and almost another decade. in my opinion, this could probably make it at 20 years old. That's the most amazing part about technology from 2000s to all the way to 2020s, is that technology isn't really substantial enough to make a difference. In fact, the actual computer itself, the screen, the battery, those go bad even before the components do, like the CPU, graphics, memory, everything else. And that's the most amazing part, is that you could use these computers. I mean, you could use them for a lot of basic tasks, and this would be perfect for students who want something basic. This would be perfect for, grandparents who doesn't want anything more than just web browsing or checking emails. And if you can find one with no issues with the battery, you could have a perfectly working ancient computer and go to coffee shops, and people will look at you and say, how old is that computer? Older than you, pal. Usability wise, this isn't really a heavy computer by all means, but it does run pretty significantly hot. That is very warm. That is really, really warm. That's the only downside about these older computers, is that they don't run as efficient as you think they might. Over the course of a couple more years from now, when software and websites keep having more intensive things to them, it'll get to the point where these computers can no longer run them. Oh, what was that? Was that the CD? One last thing. Let's go ahead and see if we can load this at 1080p. This is one of the videos I made not too long ago in Puerto Rico. Obviously, I can't put any songs because it is copyrighted. But look at that. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. What a glorious looking machine. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.